So for those of you that don't know me, I'm a carpenter, a union carpenter, and I've been on the tools for about 10 years now. As you're well aware, it's mostly predominantly men I work with. And it comes with its own set of challenges, but I can't tell you how honored I am to have my brothers marching with me today for this. And the people that know me well in this room, they're probably laughing inside thinking, how is Crystal going to do this? Talk about the two things she eats, sleeps, and breathes that she's passionate about. The skills movement and the women's movement, and get this all done in 5 minutes. Not very good at it. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is why I stand strongly for equal opportunity for all students and what we can do together to achieve this. So I'll start by going back a little bit in history and painting a picture for you. I'm an Albertan, born and raised. My mother is second generation immigrant from Ukraine, and she grew up in a small rural Alberta community in Smoky Lake, Alberta. So back in the late 60s, when she was in grade 9 at H.A. Costache High School, those days, shop class wasn't an elective. It was part of the core study, and that path was decided for you. So the boys took the industrial arts or shop class, and the women took home economics. Well, you can imagine my mom, coming from a large family, wasn't really looking forward to learn how to cook and sew, something she already knew, because it was just too much like chores. What she really wanted to do was learn how to use power tools and work with her hands, but it was unheard of in the school system at that time. So my grandfather, bless his heart, he made an appointment with the principal and the superintendent in the district to advocate for my mom to go and take this industrial arts shop class, being the only girl. His argument was that it's a value to his homestead, because my mom already knew how to cook and sew, but what he really needed her to do is to be able to use the tools and help with maintenance and build around the farm. And with that argument, she was allowed. She was the first woman in Alberta to be able to take shop class with the boys. So now we jump ahead 25 years to when I was in high school. Okay, this was the early 90s, not so long ago in the grand scheme of things. And of course, I didn't want to take home ec. I wanted to work with my hands and get my hands dirty and work in the shop. And at that time I was allowed, but it surely wasn't encouraged. In fact, I wanted to do for my co-op placement class, where you work half a day in the workforce with a mentor, I wanted to go see what it's like to be a firefighter, another male-dominated industry. And my teacher, the football coach, big burly guy, says, "Oh, well, we don't offer that." And then only to find out my buddy, a boy, in the same class as me, got that placement. So you can imagine how discouraging and uncomfortable that was for me. It's because of this system, this systemic and the cultural beliefs behind women in the trades and in the school system, that I didn't start my career in the construction trades until much later on in my life, something that I truly wish I had done earlier, because it really is a viable career for women to be independent. And I've seen a lot of change in the last 5 years or so, and I can honestly say that initiatives in the schools and stuff like that, the training I have behind my belt, is what's really helped me succeed in my career and be taken seriously for what I do. And I can't throw a lot of stats at you, because, except for the fact that women account for maybe 4% of the construction workforce in Canada. But other than that, the stats don't exist. We really haven't been tracking them. So what I can share with you, though, is my observations throughout my career and through my network and their experiences. Believe it or not, the first female carpenter that I ever worked with, well, she's a scaffolder, which is part of carpentry, was only 4 years ago. And I've been at this for 10 years ago. And I'm proud to call her a mentor, and I'm proud she's here in this room with me today. Another example, in apprenticeship training, my first year, I was the only girl. On site, I was 1 in 100. You know, there were no girls. My last year's school, there were 6 out of 12 of us were women. So this tells me that the numbers are increasing. And I honestly believe that the reason for this is the exposure that young women get to trades in the classroom. So if you, and I think it's widely agreed that that is the case and that it's something that's much needed. Exposure in the classroom, exposure through skills and mentoring programs like Skills Canada competition and Girls Exploring Trades and Technology conferences, exposure through pre-apprenticeship programs like at Women Building Futures and Trades Wins to Success. All of these programs, all of the education system, these are all reliant on government funding. So I have to tell you, with the times, the hard times that we're being faced with here in Alberta and Canada, I have some serious concerns for women in the skilled trades. So, you know, if there were to be budget cuts in the education system, not only would we have less women in the skilled construction trades, but we would have a less skilled workforce. You know, all these things like math, communication skills, comprehension skills that you learn inside the classroom, not in the shop. These are all needed for us to be successful in our careers and to meet our workforce demands. So there's no question that the construction industry as a whole is facing a workforce shortage. And I strongly believe that recruitment and retention strategies for the future of Alberta's skilled construction workforce needs to include vocational training at a young teen age in the schools. And women account for about 49% of that population in that age group here in Alberta. So today, I'm not here to tell you how to vote or who to vote for or whatever like that. What I am here to ask of you though, and it's very important that you do this for us, is to dig deep, uncover the facts, ask your neighbors how these cuts, how these policies are going to affect them, and find solidarity with your neighbors. Be informed about the decisions that you do make. Volunteer on school boards and on curriculum development committees. Participate in mentoring and skills advancement initiatives. And use your voice. Use your voice with the government. Make a visit to your local MLA and your MP's office and tell them what you need to see for us Albertans and us Canadians. And whatever you do, say no to any budget cuts that will affect training and education. Because our children, boys and girls, are the future of Alberta. So let's keep the skills movement rolling.